My name is Mark Cooper. I used to be a logistics manager at Tadcaster Brewery. I've owned a small cleaning business, and more recently I've been in card fraud for a UK bank. About 2 years ago I fractured 2 vertebrae in my back from carrying a relatively small table with my wife Sandra, and it just became really very difficult, very painful. I struggled to turn over in bed. I had to be dressed, I had to be showered. I was in incredible amount of pain. The doctors couldn't work out what it was, why it had occurred. There wasn't any obvious reason. I went through a year of a battery of tests, looking for cancer, looking for all sorts, and ultimately everything quite nicely turned out to be negative, so that was good. But I still had a lot of pain, still had a lot of difficulties. I was under physios for long periods of time. I was doing some exercise, but it wasn't getting much better. And ultimately I had a very, very sobering conversation with my doctor, who basically said, "Mark, we may never resolve all your pain." He referred me for a second time to the MSK team at Keighley, and I had a session with David Tweed, who's a consultant there, and he referred me to Keighley Health and Living. And I must admit I hadn't heard of Keighley Health and Living, but he encouraged me to get involved. And so I had the first phone call with a lady called Alison, who immediately put me at my ease, and we started talking about the Rethinking Pain programme and the other exercises that are involved. The first day, first meeting, it was difficult, I have to say. Whilst people see me as quite a large person, an extrovert, actually I'm not. I'm fairly introvert. I just hide it particularly well. So walking over that threshold was really difficult. And I wasn't sure what I was expecting. It's so difficult. You think you know, but you don't. And I was welcomed in with open arms, and we went through Rethinking Pain, and they helped me understand what pain was, what are the causes of pain, what are the effects of pain, how that impacts on people's lives. And from there, we had various meetings. It was eye-opening. It was sobering as well. You think modern medicine resolves all problems, but it doesn't always, and getting that knowledge through to me, it was obviously quite difficult. And my doctor, Dr. Nick Bird, was fantastic, and he still is, although I don't need to see him quite as much nowadays. So from the Rethinking Pain meetings, I started various activities. I started joining an exercise class, putting into practice some of the things that the Rethinking Pain team meetings had actually told me, looking at the positives, not at the negatives, looking at the wider, talking to other people, listening to other participants' stories, listening to events that they've had to put up with, to cover, to resolve, and realising that you're not alone. I had a very supportive family. I've got to accept that I've got a brilliant family helping look after me, which not everybody does. But sometimes it takes more than that, because you tend to look inwards, and this was about looking outwards. So I started exercise classes. I then started a second exercise class. I've joined the singing group. I've always wanted to sing to my wife. I can't, probably never will, but I do enjoy singing as part of a group. I have started seated yoga. I must admit, 6 months ago I would never have admitted to doing that on camera, but I have done, and I've started now a blood pressure reducing cookery course. I've cooked for 40 years, but you can teach old dogs new tricks, and I'm learning things in there. I'm learning things about nutrition, about stopping doing things that you do automatically. So the Rethinking Pain was the start of it. The exercise were the areas around it, and it's all coming together. What's the outcome? I don't see my doctor very much now. I hardly ever go have what needs to go there. I've no need to see the physios. I haven't stopped all pain medication. Occasionally I do need some, but I've stopped 90% of the pain medication. I feel much happier. I've joined groups that I never thought I would. I've met people I never thought I would meet and interact with. I've done things that I feel happier in myself. I feel, well, my wife says I look happier, I am happier. She's very grateful to the Rethinking Pain groups and the Keithley Healthy Living exercise and yoga, etc., because it's made it easier for her. I was worried about later life. I'm in my early 60s now, fine, I can cope. But I was worried, what's going to happen if I don't resolve this pain in my 70s and then 80s? I'm just going to become harder and harder to deal with. So getting it sorted now, ultimately though, you're doing it as part of a team, because I've met so many friendly faces. I've come in, I'm not sure how many times, but for 6 months, there's never once been an occasion where I've seen somebody without a smile. Never mind cross, it's just without a smile. You're there, you feel as when you walk in that there is people there lifting you up, helping you, supporting you.